right, I think that should be it. And then I just need to get Restream open. Cool. All right, so if you join the chat, let me know that everything's working for you. But we are going live right now. Octane modeling. That is not what's happening. Titles are up to date. Cool, there we go. What's up, Roberto? Just check in to make sure titles are actually active, because didn't update them before I went live. We'll get streaming in just a second. Maybe, if YouTube wants to play along. All right, come on, YouTube. Yeah, it is not. Yeah. Hope you guys aren't here for Octane, because that's not what I'm going to be doing. Just the stream title is not up to date. So hopefully that changes in a second. All right. Cool. I think I got the title updated. Hopefully. We'll see. Good to go over there. All right, I'm going to switch screens. Get into it. Maybe. There we go. Looks like chat's showing up for the most part. What's up, Felix? So I'm going to give it like 2 more minutes. Check in on Slack. So I kind of have a plan of action tonight, but I'm going to leave it open to anyone if you've got questions. But I'm thinking about possibly making some like cellular materials and exploring that and playing with like the VDB stuff in X particles. See about kind of making some weird cellular goop stuff and maybe some subsurface scattering. Because I've been playing with subsurface scattering a bit lately. So I see there's 7 of you watching. So just say what's up if you're in the chat, so I know you're there and it's working and all the channels are coming through. It's 5 a.m. What? I don't understand why you're up so late / waking up so early. Like waking up early, Kira, that's one thing. But staying up all night and going to bed at 5 a.m., that's not good. All right, I'm going to give it one more minute and then I'll start messing around. But like I was saying, I've been kind of doing these subsurface scattering things for a project, and I want to keep messing around with it. And some of it has to do with like organic cells and chemistry and things like that. So I kind of want to mess around with the VDB mesh and see about building some cells. I think that might be fun. I have mostly resolved it. I kind of have to go about it in a weird way where I have to go into my standard just vanilla Cinema 4D layout, launch the render view, and then I can switch into my layout. It's really weird. It's what's even more bizarre is I went back and reinstalled 2.601 just because I keep rotating through them to see which one is going to give me the most stable result. And oddly enough, the experimental build, which I'm using right now, is the most stable. It's really weird. I live in Russia. What can we? That's true. That's true. There could be worse things. All right, so let's start screwing around with this. I don't need that open right now. I'm gonna bring this. No, I want to bring this here. So if you guys don't know what the VDB mesher is, it's kind of like a cool Boolean or bool tool. And so let's do difference. I think I have to do it on the top one. Intersection. I know they're intersecting. I'm just gonna lock this so I can move these. Difference? You don't want to? Okay. Union seems to be working. I don't know why. Intersection. Oh, because I have these visible. God, stupid me. All right, there we go. I'm having a derpy week. So this is kind of the bool tool, and then if you mess with the voxel size, you can smooth it out a little bit more. And we've got these filters in here to help smooth it out a bit. I think we're going to go down to 25. Oh, I guess you have to stay at 1. Go up to 2. See, I'll smooth that out a bit more. If I unlock this, come in, do like 48 and 48. See if that helps smooth it out a little bit more. Kinda. Felix, you're stuck with crashes too. So yeah, what version are you using? Because right now I'm on the experimental 2.601, and it's actually been really stable. So knock on wood, it keeps staying stable. So if I make this a little bit smoother, may just be worth doing a skinner. Just bring this down a little bit more. that. I just wish it would smooth out a little bit. Let me, if I go to points, what happens? What's up, Tommy? Joining on Periscope. That's awesome. So if you're just joining and you have any questions, feel free to throw them out in chat. I think I'm just going to experiment with kind of this VDB stuff and subsurface scattering and playing around with like some more cellular organic looking things. You guys have to, yeah, I do bug report them. I've had a thread going on the forum for a while now. Say 50 for the max point. Just want these to smooth out. I don't know why that's not smoothing out. Guess I can throw a Gaussian in here. Maybe that will smooth it out a little bit. There we go. That's kind of helping. 2.5.48. The last stable build I really had was 0.52. Off median. Cool. All right. I think Gaussian's going to be our hero for the most part. Got these weird rings, but that's okay. I think that's kind of fun, and we'll kind of because it's not editable, so we'll make this editable, and I'm just going to kind of flatten this out a little bit. Get like this cool cell looking thing. And I think that's good. All right, so I'm going to throw just a dome light in. Yeah, 0.52 was really good. 0.53 sucked. 0.54 was kind of stable. And I heard 0.55 and I think it's 0.56 now are pretty stable too. I keep having all this render view trouble. But 2.6.01 has been great, especially if you have CUDA 9 installed and you're using newer chips. So like, what is it, the Volta series? It now supports that. So Titan V's. So that's really awesome. All right. Man, I gotta check and see something. It's Nate. Not Nate, Nick. Nick is not awake right now. All right. Stranger Things indeed. But it is a good show. So at least that's positive. All right, I'm going to throw an HDRI on here. Don't pay attention to that. Manhattan Nights Volume 2. It's not out yet. I've been beta testing it. I don't think I'm allowed to show it off yet, so ignore that. Cool. I think we're going to crank this up to like 2. Maybe rotate it around a little bit. Now I want it this way. Something like that. It's looking all right. See if I can smooth out my voxels in a little bit. All right, let's see if we can get this smooth, and then I want to start playing with subsurface scattering and seeing what we can get out of this thing. Make it look a little bit funky and cellular. So I'm gonna go down to 1. It's getting a little bit smoother. I don't really understand this whole like renderer versus editor thing, especially for third-party renderers, because it doesn't affect anything. Like if I go down to 1 here, you'll see it doesn't smooth anything out. It's kind of silly. I have not tried putting a tag on here and adding tessellation to this. Let's see. Look, no, that doesn't do anything. so we don't need that. Try 0.75. A few more voxels in there. It's getting pretty smooth. And what if I throw the median back on? Click too many times. No, forget all shows, watch Altered Carbon. I was just blown away. Amazing cyberpunk story. Okay, I'll watch that. Is it better than what is it, Mr. Robot? Because that's kind of cyberpunk hacker a little bit. All right, I think that's looking pretty smooth. So I am going to make a material, and let's explore some cool subsurface scattering stuff. All right, it's looking nice and glossy. So why don't we make this like a funky green slime ball? Do that. And I think the reflection, I'm going to get some like yellows in there. Altered Carbon. All right, I will see about watching that. I have been hooked on Fresh Off the Boat. I know that is completely in the opposite direction of like family comedy, but man, Fresh Off the Boat is some funny stuff. All right, so let's turn on our subsurface scattering. So what we're going to do is bring this up, and to get subsurface scattering, you actually have to have on bucket rendering, and I just want to make sure I had to reset all these settings. All right, that's all right. I want to do medium. Do brute force, just because we're streaming. Automatic memory, and turn off the default light. So much stuff I have to reset. Cool. All right. What's up, Billy? All right, so you can see, you know, now that I've added in some subsurface scattering around these edges here, you get these highlights. I turn this all the way down. I just want to make sure it's not my specular, because I did make that yellow. I guess it is my specular coming through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is bring this up, and we get like this smoky look right in there. And I think what I'm going to do is kind of go a little crazy and get some purple. See how that adds up. And I'm going to have to up my count. Let's do 256. Smooth that out a bit. Might take a little second to render. Yeah, my stream said that too, Billy, and I just updated it. Apparently Restream is not updating it, even though I said for it to. Update. Let me see if I can update. Hopefully that just updated it. Let me see. I'll hit refresh right now. Yeah, it doesn't seem to want to update. So I don't know. Restream is picky. Whatever. But we can change the title afterwards. Close that. Keep that there. Cool. I don't need that open. All right, so what we're gonna do is up our radius just so we can get some cool action going on here. I'm gonna do 75. You'll see we start to get a little bit of coloring in there. Maybe we'll go beyond this radius here. And I don't think it will let us. So come back in. So I've been trying to figure out the best way to approach subsurface scattering, because it seems like should be getting like purple over in these areas, but every time I mess with it, it seems like it's just kind of trial and error. Right? Yeah, I can't go beyond 1. Can I go beyond 1 up here? No. So let me really push this. See, like, there's not. This is one thing that I can't wait for Redshift to update, is to go to more point-based subsurface scattering instead of surface-based, because there's just something not right there. I'm gonna throw in another light too. What's up, Vitus? It is Redshift Thursday. No, I haven't had a tutorial out in a while. I've just been really busy with work. Usually January, February, March is really slow, and for whatever reason, I'm not slow this year. So just kind of have to bear with me a little bit that I haven't been able to put out a tutorial. All right, so that's just a crazy amount of subsurface scattering. Like, if I go down to 10, like where's my purple? 50. So it's starting to come in a little bit. You can see that the transparency is definitely picking up. No, I'll go back down to 100. Try and condense it. All right, so what I'm gonna do is try a pink, a really light pink, because I know technically subsurface scattering, at least on the top level, should be lighter. I'm just gonna bring these down, make sure it's really not adding anything. Cool. Hecka SSS. Yeah, I'm trying to get Hecka SSS. I really like this. It's kind of got like this cool plastic look on it right now, but so there's like super SSS 1000, and then if I go back down to say 50, what does that give me? Yeah, I don't know what the relationship is here. Like, let's go into 5. One. So much subsurface it looks like a metal globe. Kinda. Yeah. But like, Billy, I'm right about this. Like, it should be picking up pink highlights in here, right? Like, I know that if I turn my diffuse down, no, it freaks out. So you definitely have to have diffuse on with this. I'll just add a little bit of roughness in here, maybe super light in there. How thick? It's not thick. I mean, yeah. Do you think it's because I'm using the VDB that it's just like overwhelming it? Like, maybe I should just make this without the VDB. Maybe I'll just do that. Here, screw it. Let's start over. Our egg shape. light year? A point cone light year? It's a point, like I've got a cone light here, and I have a dome light as well. Yeah. Got a cone and a dome light. Not exactly what we had before, but maybe we can get some subsurface scattering from this. Like, it should definitely be smoother, right? Like, where's that loop? That's a weird loop. All right. Do. All right, so it's kind of got like this weird button thing going on. I don't really know what I'm trying to make at the moment. I just was trying to not have so many polys from the VDB. So I'm gonna go back and start messing with this again. Let's go back up to 100 baseline. So that's 100. If I go down to like 5, you get a little bit of pink in there, you know, but not what I'm expecting. If I go up to 50 again, definitely getting some translucency. 250 here. If I go down to 25 here. So it's like, it's kind of like it wants to happen, but it doesn't. So, tricolors in the other layers. Let's try blue. Well, that's interesting. Why does that happen? I don't think that's supposed to happen. So if I turn, how have I turned this one down? What? All right, so that's weird. What if I turn this up? Oh, so I turn that up, but I don't have anything in there. Okay. This is just craziness. like I can see it happening, but it should be adding color for sure. Just to see. Like there's some subsurface scattering. So subsurface color, let's just do like red and then scatter color. It's blue. So this is something I don't understand from using the Uber shader is in here, Slack DM'd me. Sure, I'll take that. So here's what I don't understand about the subsurface scattering in the Uber shader is it makes you use diffuse to get it to work at all. But here you don't have to. Like I can turn the diffuse all the way down and it still works. And then start messing with this. Like here, that seems like it should be like the optimal range. Still not what I'm expecting. Skin, throw that on. It's like skin works, and if you look at it, it's the exact same as the Uber shader, where maybe it's because they keep these radii so small. Why don't I do that? So let's see, 0.3, 0.6, and 0.15. I'm going to keep this one locked there. So this is a weight of 0.6 and 0.04. Whoop, it's going to put 0.04. This is 0.25 and 0.063. What's up, HP? Long time no see. All right, so here's the problem. If I bring this down, it doesn't let me keep. So Matthias. So this is the issue that I have now with Redshift is I don't have any diffuse on if I use the skin, but if I use a normal Uber shader, I have to have diffuse. Like, do I just have to have like the minimal amount? No, because look at that. Like, all right, so let's bring up the radius to like 1. You'll see it doesn't really affect it. And then if I bring it up here, I'm expecting it to affect it, but it's not. DM'd me again. All right, Billy has sent a file. Dave Buddha. Oh, I don't have Signal installed? Do I really not have a Signal installed? Guess I need to reinstall that. All right. All right, unlock that. So I think what you sent is probably this one. Every day is Q&A day, but right now I'm just kind of messing around with subsurface scattering. So, okay, this is using the skin. Did I miss? No, I don't have, I didn't hit play. Cool. Radiance cache is on. Brute force that. How many samples does this have on? Oh my goodness, that is too many. Subsurface, very low, 32, okay. Subsurface is taking its time. Yeah, I'm in bucket mode. It's just taking its time. But I can already see, like, right in here, there's going to be some subsurface scattering. You can do it. Yeah, Matthias, if you have a Q&A or question that you need answered, like, that looks good, like right in there. You can see the. I really think that in the Uber shader it's messed up. Like it works really well if you're using skin, and then if you're not, then it's like it hates life. So here's the skin one. And then if I start poking around in here, so let's say shallow scatter, I want green. You can see these other layers coming through. If I bring this all the way up, like really has a profound difference on it. So here, if I put some purple in here, it definitely builds on top. Maybe I'll put some green back down here. So taking a look at this, maybe the third color has to be the main one that you want scattered, and then yeah, but see, so I really think it's screwed up. I should be able to turn off my diffuse, but All right, so what's the difference here? Why can I have diffuse off in skin, not the other way around? But create a realistic water material, like I mean, it's pretty much the same way. Let me get a plane, and let's throw like 100 by 100. Displacer. Get some noise on this thing. Do electric. Actually, no, I want to go the other way. Something kind of like that. So water is going to be pretty much like glass for the most part. You'll have some diffuse in there. You can build it up with more layers. And so that's glass, kind of just with a displacement on there. And then get another light going. Not what I want to do. Come on. There we go. No. Like that. So to get it more water-like, of course you're not seeing any red coming through just because of the black background. If it was white, it would help, but you know, I can make this blue, like a blue down here, and then I think 1.34 is water for IOR. Let's look. Get a new tab open. So pixelandpoly.com/IOR has tons of index of refractions. So IOR, or not IOR, water is 1.325. So that's going to be your IOR. Everything always has just a little bit of roughness to it, so we can do that. Yeah, that website is mostly where I go to get most of my IORs. I don't know if I still have IOR. There's another site that works extremely well too, but if you just need something quick, this is great. Thanks, Matthias. You are the first person to use Super Chat because I just got it enabled, having 1,000 subscribers. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, so for water, it's kind of getting there. Let me see if I throw a light underneath so you can see the color. Spotlight. And then like that. It's still really not doing anything. Why? Come on. Don't want to play along. just for giggles to make sure Redshift is thinking properly, change that. All right, so that's plastic, glass. Hey, Jan, what's up, dude? Milky coffee. All right, well, okay. You can start with glass, and then what you need to do is have the index of refraction. And I'm going to throw a dome light in here just so we can see what's going on. And get some kind of background going. Let's do European vacation. I think there's a beach in here, sort of. See if that will help. There we go. That's starting to help now that we have something it can sit against. All right. So water is usually going to have like 3 different noise values to it. It's going to have like medium noise and a high frequency noise for like foam and things like that. So if you say come into this noise here, and we'll bring this down so it gets a little bit more noisy. And add a little bit of roughness to this. Just a little bit more. I think 0.15 is probably all right. So it's not perfectly translucent. Let's go ahead and make a copy of this. We'll get a blender. And so for this next one, after I get this hooked up, I'm going to have some white with a little bit of blue added in on here, and do 0.125. Is that not enough diffuse? Man, come on, update IPR. There's got to be something going on with having a displacer on the plane, because this is no longer that transparent, right? So okay. Redshift is apparently screwing with me, because this is what happened with the subsurface scattering too. Brograph, what's up? Golden Arts. So I'm gonna bring this down. I'm bring the diffuse down too. I'm gonna make this again 0.125. What's up, Golden Arts? Do you have a question, or are you stating the channel you're watching on? Sure, man. I just have this on because it's like part of non-commercial music, since it's remix or whatever, so I don't have to really worry about audio getting cut off. But yeah, if you've got something else, I don't really know what I have playing anymore. It is no longer this. I could throw on Tokyo Megaplex, since he's on Spotify. So what was I doing? I was going to bring this down. So 0.25. And let me see if I can find... All right, user data. Let's see if this works. What's up, Grant? Yeah, we're gonna listen to some Tokyo Megaplex at the moment. I really want to get some data from well, I was hoping to get the height data from this here. Might have to bring in the plane to be able to do that. NE1, okay. Is this you? Golden Arts? Or are you Casey Golden? I don't see anything, dude. Anyone. There we go. Leave that on. All right, so what I'm going to try and do is get the height information out of here. And just to see, will it give me color data? Probably not. It's worth a try though. No. So I'm going to throw it into a ramp just for giggles. Ramp input. I'm going to do Alt. All right, I might have to clamp it down. See if I get anything out of it. Yeah, I mean, since this is really Xpresso, then you can do whatever you want. So like, if I, where's Xpresso? Right there. You can see it's the exact same thing. So you can bring Redshift into here too. So here's Redshift and all the shaders and everything. So you have everything that you have in Xpresso. So right now, I'm going to see about getting height segments. Maybe this will give me some information. I have a feeling it's not going to, or I need to look into it more. It's funny that it will let me do height as output, but not height segments. Why? So maybe I need a not a clamp range. From the height. That's what I want. Kinda. There's got to be a better way to get the height, because yeah, you can drop any object in. You know, if I want to bring the area light here and get some information from the area light, it makes it super nimble, and you can get some really cool customization. So that is one plus over using Octane, is that you can just get parameters way easier. Except for a situation like this where it doesn't want to. All right, I'm going to try local matrix. Let's see what happens here. No, I said local matrix. The only downside is that it's super small for some of the node points. You can do whatever you want. So like if I do new node and then go to Xpresso, if I need random here, like a random seed, and I don't know if it'll let me do this, but let's try it. Yeah, I had a feeling it wouldn't let me do that, but you should be able to grab whatever you want and use it. So time right here. I don't know if it will let me convert time to, yeah, probably not. Oh yeah, there we go. So as time goes on, it gets darker now, if you see that. So once it gets to a certain point, of course, it's going to go to black. But if you throw like a multiply in, then you, of course, can change that up. It's like MoGraph data here. Can you use, for example, that random with a light or texture? Probably. I mean, you could use it for lots of different things. I don't know if it would give you like a random value for like brightness of light, but it might. Right now I'm trying to get the height of this data now, now that the displacement's on there, and it seems like it should just be there. Maybe if I do scale Y, let's try that. Well, let me put that in here. No, it doesn't like that. Is it displaying the plane heights pre-deforming? I think that's what's happening, is that it's taking it pre-deform. So maybe, like everything in Cinema, you need to throw this in a connect object. We'll just do the lowest, throw the connect in here. I don't know that it's necessary. I don't think it's going to give me height, is it? Yeah, but maybe scale. Like I was thinking scale should probably give me something. Well, it's not the points. Like it's not like actually the scale of the points or the position of the points. I really need like point coordinates. Yeah, I'm trying to use like the height of this, and I don't think the displacer is going to give it to me. Maybe it will, but the height of it to, oh man, maybe it will. There's height right there to drive some of this stuff. Let me see. Let's take a look at the displacer and what information I want. Because the deformation effect is faster than displacement from the redshift texture. I mean, it may be faster. Sometimes I think it is, but I don't really sit and do tests like that. Um, Strength, no. Let's see what we can find here. So we got the shader mapping, channel, alpha. Let's see if I use this shader information. No, no, okay. Doesn't like that. Maybe it needs to go into a texture. Texture. No, okay, it hates that. A lot of just trial and error with this. But yeah, what I'm trying to do is get the height of this to drive how much it's going to pull in of this material here in the blender. But yeah, Vitis, I think it is pulling in the information before. That is true. That is nice. I mean, Redshift has a viewport node right here, so if you ever have displacement, you can throw the material in here so you can see where it's supposed to be affecting it. All right, local matrix. Let's see what happens. Won't let me plug it in there or there. Global matrix, I doubt that too. Let me make this bigger so we can see it. So it's really obnoxious that it doesn't pick up the modified information. And then in the connect object, it's not going to give me anything. Right, yeah. Previous scale. This is one thing where Houdini definitely overpowers cinema. Is like, I know if I was in Houdini right now, I'd be able to say, all right, I want the information from these points, and depending on where they are, it should do it. And if we use the displacement tag of Redshift material to drive the height, I don't think that will. I mean, that will kind of do it in the sense of you have the displacement texture driving the height, and then you can use that to blend it. That's kind of a good idea, actually. Let's see. Well, it won't let me grab the same shader out of here, right? So I just have to create one. So I want to use this noise, and then I need a texture. We'll just call it 1024 by 1024. We're up to like 500 and electric, right? We need displacement. All right, let's try that. And I want out of the connect, and we'll throw our Redshift tag on here. Height. No, that's there we go. Sorry. I was expecting it to show up without that. Cool. So there's that base. I probably need it to be more like 100. And, oh, no, stay connected. I think what's going to have to happen is I got rid of that ramp, and I'll probably need it to drive this. And come on, there we go. All right, so what we want is it's either got to be clamped down this way, or it's got to be the other way. Of course, but just so we can really see this, I'm going to make this pink, and yes, so there we go. Who was that? Who had that idea? Matthias. That was very smart. So there you go. Now we're getting it on the peaks, which is what I wanted. And so let's go ahead and bring that back down. Go, something like that. So now what we can do is bring some of this transparency back up. Transmission. So you'll have to play with it, of course. I think I probably just have way too much diffuse going on right now. 125. Let's say, why is that saying the roughness? It's pulling the roughness from this. Okay. So this really needs to be like 2.9. We'll just overshoot that a little bit. I think I'm going to really make this white. Yeah, you could totally use this to drive animation. All you have to do is animate the offset. The only, you know what? You can't do it here because of how it bakes this texture. So if you were using a regular noise, totally, what you would have to do for this is just do an animation like you normally would inside here. I believe it would be slow as hell though, but it should work. If I go to the next frame, it's probably going to bake it. Yeah, you can see that it's updating. So if I go up to like 4, so it does it, it's just a little bit slow. So I'm going to bring this back down to 250. A little bit more ripples in there. And then displacement, 1,000. Whatever you want to bring it up to. But you could also blend multiple displacements together if you wanted to. So, if this is 100, and you want to have one that's really strong and pushing peaks and stuff, and then have another one that's only doing minor waves, then you can totally drive it like that. So let me just bring this back up there. You can start to see some of that coming in. This would actually be a really fun tutorial to show texture animation driving stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool that you can do such advanced stuff. I was really hoping that you could just pull it in from here, because then that you don't have to go through all this baking crap with each frame that it has to save out a new texture. You have to wait for it, and then it goes. And it's not terrible. Like, it's still 5 seconds a frame, you know. But you'll see every time I hit forward that will say processing textures, because it has to save this out as a new texture. It is what it is. But I think it would be really efficient to do something up here and drive it that way. You know what? I just thought of something too. I'm going a little bit long with this stream tonight now that I'm really having fun doing this. Thanks. It's okay, Water. We're actually exploring now just driving things with various elements, since Redshift is Xpresso based, and a lot of people don't not necessarily understand it, but realize that. So I'm gonna try something. If I load this noise into here, go back up to electric, do something like 400. Okay. We tried to get the texture before, but if I go like this, it won't let me drag it, will it? Channel? I get channel information. There's got to be a way to. Oh, see, it does let me channel. Oh. All right, I'm gonna disconnect this displacement. Okay, so that's really subtle, but that's okay. Let's try 500. I want to see now what is happening with this. Okay, so channel is not quite getting it. Mapping shader. Texture. Yeah, we tried shader before, didn't we? That's terrible. It's terrible news. Because I think it would be so much faster to do it that way. Just for giggles. Let's see. Yeah, can't do it that way. Sure, we can turn off bucket mode. You can't get real I don't think you can get real displacement without bucket mode, right? Or is it? I might just be so stuck in subsurface scattering right now that. There we go. Turn that off. So now that we're driving this here, let's see how. There you go. So this is. It's a little inverted, isn't it? Like. When there's a live event. What's up, Eric? Thanks for following the other day. I saw that you became a subscriber, so thank you for that. All right, so we're getting somewhere, I think. Something like that. So we can see in like these heavy areas, it starts to really push it. See 2048 by 2048. Whoa, not that high. Oh, Redshift might crash. Oh, I got it. Okay, I saved it. Whew. I thought I was gonna freak out. You're on the fence between Octane and Redshift. What are you on the fence about? Because I have all the 4 major ones, and I can tell you pros and cons of all of them. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the best render engine right now for interiors is Corona. If you really want to do interior stuff, check out Corona. I mean, Redshift will do it, but you really got to pay attention to your samples and your lights to make it really effective. I mean, that's one of the great things about using Redshift as opposed to Octane for interiors is that you have so much more control over your sample settings, and if you want to have something affect just diffuse, just specular, taking shortcuts like that, had bloom and it was awesome. Yeah, a lot of people get pulled into like the post effects, but it doesn't take a lot of work to get bloom and to composite your own. I understand people making the argument to try and stay in the render engine as much as possible, but I like being able to turn off global illumination and still get a nice render if I light it well enough and have my frames take 10 seconds a frame versus you can only adjust your overall samples and things like that in Octane. And the nice thing right now is that Redshift is on sale. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to working with Redshift. Like right now, the whole shader graph and what we've been discussing tonight is in Xpresso, so you can pull in an object and get all this data from it and have it drive whatever you want. So you could have the position of where this plane is drive how much blue there is or something like that. So there's a ton of benefits to switching to a system that really takes advantage of what kind of power cinema has built into it. It's a lot harder to do with Octane. But yeah, you are right. I mean, an interior scene is going to take a little bit. Let me just make a fun little experiment here. Redshift. So let's put a point light in here. And so we've got this room here, and it's, thanks Anthony. You are welcome. Thanks for following along. So we've got this light here, and you know, we're blowing it up here. This is just a point light, so you can't really control the samples that well here. If we go to render it, you know, we get some banding in there, and we get some noise. And if we throw another object in here, so we'll do that. This first cube is not very big, don't have a lot of room to move around in. There we go. Here, I'm going to pull back, make it not so tall. Something like that. So if we start placing objects in here, and I'll copy this over here and make this tall. Probably too tall. Something like that. Let's put another light over here, another one here. So is this kind of what you're doing, Eric? Just kind of like this, and you're saying it takes forever. And like if you, it's kind of a dark scene, but if you look, it's kind of grainy. But one of the cool things is that you can come in and start looking at your samples and see where you could use samples. And since this point light doesn't allow you to adjust samples, you can come in and go in and do specific overrides. So I'm going to scroll down here and do light overrides, and let's do like 256 and see. So that's not really going to do much at this point. It's pretty much saying that that's what you're going to get. But if we get 256 here, then the darker it gets, the less noise there is. So if I come back here and go to regular, you can see how clean that is, and it's just 1 second for that frame. So I'm sure you probably have windows and furniture and things like that, or maybe you're using area lights. So I'll come in and delete everything but these two. And let's go ahead and make this an area light. Also, too, if you're playing with it and using the architectural materials in here, these are deprecated, so they're not using them anymore because the regular material, the Uber shader, takes care of it. It covers everything that's in there. All right, so you can see with the area light that that's 2 seconds now. It's doubled our time. And if I come in here, I'm going to turn this into an area light, and it's probably going to double again, or at least add probably close to another second. Yeah. So it's really slowing down. So that kind of sucks, right? Like I just put in better lights, but it's slowing down. I need more light to be able to see. Yeah, it was about 50 lights in there, fluorescent tubes aligned on a grid. Yeah, so one, really small lights cause a lot of noise. So if I make these small, I make this small. We'll just pretend these are fluorescent tubes. So where's our samples? There we go. So you see we got a lot of gray, some whites in here, all this noise in here. So what's happening is I'm going to come back in our render settings, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. It'll probably get even noisier. That's not too bad. So what's happening is you have all this noise, and if you want to clean it up, normally in Octane, you just keep throwing samples at it, and you can throw more samples at lights too, but it's super effective in Redshift. What? So 1.5 inches by 48 inches. I don't think this scene is big enough, so I'll just do 1.5 by, 48 by 1.5. I don't think that's, do 480 by 150. Yeah, really skinny. Maybe it will let me do it. Let's see. Would you say it was 1.5 inches by 48 inches? Do I have enough room in here? I guess I do. So 48 inches by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to just times this by 10. Times it by 10 so we can keep that ratio. We're going to say 1500 or 1500 by 40, something like that. Okay, and then 1500 by 40. There we go. And you said you had about 50 of them. Well, I'm not going to do 50, but I was just going to show you that just by adding samples in here, you can start to isolate where you need to add, or where you'll get your noise and where you can clean it up. So that way, instead of going into your settings here and just adding a bunch of samples that maybe aren't doing anything, so like this definitely is, you really kind of need like 30, 16 and probably 256. Maybe not that much. We'll try 128. And we turn off our samples. Getting kind of a dark scene here. Let's see, that one there is the bottom, right? Doot. Close enough. All right, I'm gonna do what you said. Let's make 50. So you can see it's definitely chugging along. So 22 seconds. So let's take a look at this. So 256. I don't think we need that many for this, probably like 32. And then because we have so many lights, probably actually drop this down to like 64. It'll still be pretty clean. But for an interior scene, now granted, it's simple. 18 seconds isn't that bad. And I tried faking it in Redshift with ambient occlusion and just one light, and then cylinders as fluorescent tubes, luminance. I looked all wrong. Yeah, you have to really know what you're doing to fake it like that. But here, I'll turn on global illumination. It's not going to matter for this scene because it's black and white, but for this, probably need 128. So it's going to take a little bit longer now that I've upped the amount of rays and it's global illumination. it's already 10:30. This stream went by very fast. It's awesome when you guys are active. Last week, I think it's just because it was Octane and then Redshift back to back. Ambient illumination on the one light. You can't make animated fog in Redshift at the moment. Sorry, Anthony. You just can't. So 45 seconds for a single frame interior is pretty awesome. I mean, coming from a CPU world and dealing with all that, then it's usually like minutes for something even as simple as this. Yeah, you can't really do animated fog, unfortunately. Like, we throw this environment in here, and I'll turn this on. There's really nothing you can do. The closest thing that you could probably get away with is and the materials will let me because this isn't really a volume, so it's not going to affect anything. I think the closest thing you could probably do is get an Xpresso tag and see if we can throw this in here and maybe random. I don't think this is going to work, but let's see if it's not doing anything. Yeah, I don't think it's going to really do anything. Yeah, I was going to say what you could probably do is mess around with the emission right here. So I bring that back up and start to play with the scattering a little bit. Height. Let me see if I can get a gradient. No, that's not where I want to get a gradient. Yeah, I was thinking about throwing a ramp in there, and then you can kind of do something like that, or a noise, but you can't. There isn't a way to really throw material on one of these. So we're kind of shortchanged at the moment. So Matthias, let's see. You were saying, how can I get the glow effect in Redshift incandescent? Like this kind of glow effect, Matthias, like how this light is doing it, you can't really. That's one shortcoming of the incandescent material. So yeah, I would say if you really need it, you'd have to make a VDB and turbulence FD or X particles or that. Actually, check out Merc Vilson on YouTube and Twitter, because he has a way that he's made like a fog almost. Let me turn this off. But yeah, Matthias, let me know what kind of glow you're talking about, and I'll try and help you out. but there is kind of a hack around it. The glow here. Okay, I can kind of show you how to do that. Not certainly. I'll reread your question in a minute, Theodore. So Anthony, I'm going to do yours, and then Matthias, I'm going to come back to yours, and then Theo, I'll come back to yours too. So I'm going to see if I can do what Merc did, but essentially what it is that you turn down your diffuse all the way and you start bringing up your absorption, right? Your scattering? Yeah, you have to bring up your scattering. And then in here, I'm going to have to make this sphere a lot bigger. So you can see it kind of gets, oh, that looks terrible. Kind of gets like this cloudy feel to it, and then you can just use a noise. Merc's tutorial on this is a lot faster and probably will do way better job than what I'm doing here because he's actually done it quite a few times. Which one do I want it in? I want it in scatter coefficient, I think, or transmit. It's one of those. Let's try absorption scale. Not quite. Okay. Yeah, that looks terrible. Well, yeah, Merc has a way, and I think it is like a cloud or something. I forget what exactly he calls it. This tutorial, like how to make Redshift clouds. So, and set IOR to 0. Is that what it is? Kira, thank you so much. Set IOR to 0. Look at that. It's not. But that's not. We can't. Or to 1. Okay. There we go. Set IOR to 1, and then I feel like one of these should give us some noise. So that's kind of giving some noise. But yeah, go find Merc's tutorial on it, and I think if you animate the noise, then you'll get that effect. So let's see, who is up next? Incandescent material planes. So yeah, that is Slack. Where is it? So you're talking about like these soft glows right here and like overexposure. So that's kind of like the bloom in Octane, and you can sort of do it in Redshift, but not really. Where I don't have a camera set up, do I? Yeah, Merc Vilson, MERK, V as in Victor, ILSON. S as in Sam, O, N as in Nancy. What am I doing? Camera. Sorry, it is getting late and I'm losing my mind a little bit. Yeah, you can get it in Photoshop, and I usually use Fusion. One, it's free, and two, it just gives really good results. So one way to kind of get it in camera is to enable overexposure, and you'll see it just brightened up a lot. So if you bring that up, and then say I had a plane. Rotate. On this plane, I'm going to throw that on it. So you can't really see here. Let me open up Fusion, and you are welcome, Anthony. So Matthias, let me open up Fusion and I'll show you the workflow that I kind of do. So what you'll need is an AOV for emissions, and screw it, I'm just going to show this. All right, so this is for a client. So right now you see I have these streams and they have emissions on them here, and they're just not that great. And then if I take this here, this is viewing in this panel, and this is a mat of these streams. And so I've isolated that here, and then I've thrown a few different glows on them and start to add them together. And then here I've got a color correct on it, and I merge it back together here, and then I've got another color correct here. And that's how you can start getting some glows. This isn't like anything fancy, but the way you would get that is by doing a similar workflow where you have a mat that you'd pull out the areas that you want, and then you can throw a glow on, and you do it with like a Gaussian blur in Photoshop, and then overexposing highlights. So if I want to, make this glow stronger here. Oh, nope, we're on this one. Glow stronger here. I can do that. Then here, make it a little bit stronger on the inside. This one a little bit stronger. Merge it together. Start to color correct it if I want to change it. So if I want to change it to blue instead, or whatever color, stick to like an orange. Add some contrast. Up the gain a little bit, and then we'll just go like that. I can come back down in here. Bring down the contrast, get a little bit more glow. Maybe I want to get that color really onto like an orange, so I can keep rotating around. So like that, and then if I come in here, there you go. Now it's like super hot, but you get what I'm saying. Doesn't need to be that crazy. But inside of Redshift, you can come in, and if you open your AOV manager, you have this emissions tab right there, and you would render that out, and wherever you have that emissions tab, or you can use a puzzle mat. And let's say you make this material ID 22. In here, you would just make all these 22, 22, 22, 22, and we'll just call this bloom. And then when you export it, it'll be there for you. But I lose. Okay, so you got that. Yeah. So yeah, the emissions one. Um, if you want to really isolate it to certain ones, so like in this here, say you wanted it only on the left side, then you just make sure that you use a puzzle mat, because an emissions one is going to do all the lights in the scene. So it would do this light here plus the incandescent material. If I had more lights, it would do all of them all at once. I can show you actually. Maybe. I guess because the light's facing this way. But you'll see right there, it isolates just to that. And then if I rotate around, so I guess emission doesn't pick up the light. I really thought that emissions picked up the light. Maybe it's just the reflection of the light. Let's see. Well, whatever. I am apparently wrong about that. So, all right. Let's see. Did I miss? I think there's one more question. I think it was Theodore, right? And then I'm gonna roll out of here because I'm getting tired. Let's see. Theodore said, really big question, might need to be for another live or tutorial, but what setup would you recommend to get a similar soft feel to Octane? So a glow plus a LUT, not in post, would be increased bounce. So soft, Theodore, if you have like an example, if you can send it to me, either in YouTube messages or just look me up at 531, you'll find my site. Send me a message so I know what you're trying to go for, because soft can mean a few different things, like soft lighting or doing like a bloom. Yeah, please make a tutorial for the water material. I will see if I can do that. I think, yeah, you can't do bloom without post. It's not built into Redshift at the moment, mostly because Redshift really tries to be like a production friendly render engine is the word I'm looking for. So that means most people will be rendering out and working inside Fusion or Nuke or After Effects afterwards, and so adding in extra stuff like that to the beauty image kind of takes away from the ability to work inside post stuff like Nuke and Fusion and After Effects. It is coming though. If you search the Redshift forums, they have examples of them using or doing bloom. Let me see. Redshift. Bloom. So 2.56 is now available. I don't know why that one popped up for bloom, because they did not add it into that. RS Bloom workflows. So there's a lot of people talking about it there. Real Glow and After Effects definitely will do it. Bloom and Glare. This is just from like a couple of weeks back. For the love of God, please let us have it in render view. So yeah, there's a lot of people that ask for it, and I want to say, here it is. I think this is the one. Yeah, if you read through this one, the team from Redshift starts talking about it, and like here, like it goes all the way back to like February of 2015. June of 2015 even. So they know. It's not a big priority because it's not that kind of render engine. All right, let me see. Did I miss anything else? And there's 18 of you now. Maybe I should push this back to like 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock Eastern. So many more people showed up. Cool. All right, does anyone have any last minute questions that I may have missed? I'm scrolling through right now to make sure I didn't miss any. Golden Arts. Let's see. Put on the quality or go progressive, although I don't use progressive that much. I never use progressive except for in the render view. Subsurface material that would look like a living organism. Yeah, I would love to do something like that. Somebody said change the projection type. I don't know that would have solved the height issue. Also, another shout out to Matthias for the contribution and the super chat. That was awesome. I don't even know how that works. I just turned it on. So thank you so much for that. And man, oh, I can't even scroll back any further. Okay, cool. So scrolling to the bottom. Cool. Yeah, Theodore, you're welcome. Later start time is better for me. Yeah, I don't do it that late just because I work and have kids and like to sleep sometimes. So, except I've now streamed for almost 2 hours. So, whatever. I guess I can push it back. Maybe I'll think about doing that. Yeah, let me know. Send me an email or a message in YouTube. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe because it's awesome to interact with all you guys. But yeah, same old stuff every week. We have Redshift Thursdays where we chat. You guys can ask questions, and now we'll just do this. I don't really have any goals. I just kind of start working on stuff, and then as questions come in, I try and answer them as best as I can. So if you guys have any ideas for tutorials in the future, find me by searching Google for 531. It's FIVE 31. Like the first 4 pages on there, and let me know. I haven't done any tutorials in about 2 or 3 weeks. I've just been slammed with work, but I still do the live streams, so these kind of count as like mini fast-paced tutorials. But if you have a really good idea, like the water tutorial, like Matthias was saying, then I might do that. I've got a backlog of tutorials I need to work on. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in, and I will talk to you as soon as I can, either in a tutorial early next week or next Thursday. See ya.